whoever said that was right. What means to eat a lot of food? All right, anybody? Everybody say what you think the answer is. Yeah, that's right. Yay! Because like pigs like eat a lot. So.
With me.
Okay, so if something is sweet, it is. So if I'm like, oh, cool, sweet. Pretty.
Maybe awesome. Pretty. Yeah. Because it's something.
Sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah, it means awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if something's good or cool, I'll be like, yeah, sure, sweet. It means like sure, or like awesome, or.
Wait, have you guys never heard that?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's super common. You just answer.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's sweet.
Or like, it's like sounds good, kind of, or like awesome. It's like an affirmative, enthusiastic response. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like,
I get it.
okay, we're going to give you guys all the chance to like use these coming up.
Totally.
This is one that like, if you actually say this, I think people will probably make fun of you.
I think like here, it's my good.
I mean, anybody? It kind of yeah, it says the answer.
Yeah. It's an adventure.
There you go, and here's the last one. This one is very common, so this is important. Yeah. That's right. Good job, guys. Okay, so we have sheets for you that have a bunch of English slang and yes. Oh, we're still splitting up?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to split you guys into two groups, and half of you guys are going to go there, and half of you guys are going to stay here. So that way everybody has more time to talk. So it looks like there are...
so do half of you want to follow me?
6, 8, 10,
I'll be over here.
14. Okay, so like 10 of you, if 10 of you want to go with Nolani, maybe the 10 of you who's closest to the door. So like you, that's 5. You. I think that's the right number. Unless it's kind of yes, you too. Great. All right, guys. Yes, I think so. So now you guys like, it's a pretty small room, so I don't think we need to like move it all. But just everybody can hear each other. Okay, great. So this is how it's gonna work. I'm gonna give you guys each one of these sheets, and on one side there's English slang, and on the other side there are idioms. And what I want you to do, if you just look over it, and if you have any questions about it, ask, because then I'm going to split you guys up into pairs, and I'm going to ask you guys to come up with sentences that use these. Does that make sense? So you guys can actually get practice. But so, just first, like, before you even, like, really start to look at this, can you think of any, like, English slang or idioms that we did go over here off the top of your head? Like, have you ever heard, like, just, like, some weird expression, like, from an English speaker like me that you heard it and just, like, a direct translation doesn't make sense? No? So, maybe an example would be, like, straight from the horse's mouth. So, like, that's, like, what we would say is like an idiom. So like, it's an expression that doesn't mean what it literally means. So like, people say straight from the horse's mouth when like they heard something right from the first person that said it. So like, you wouldn't say it if I'm like, oh, I heard it from Susie, and Susie heard it from Bill, and Bill heard it from Julio, and Julio heard it from Juan. That is not straight from the horse's mouth. But if somebody says something important and I hear it right from them, I'm like, oh yes, straight from the horse's mouth. Meaning, like, I heard it directly from the source. So, like, have you ever heard, like, English speakers say other weird things like that in conversation that you just weren't sure what it meant? Or, like, slang?
Or like BRB.
BRB? Do you know what BRB means?
Be right back.
Right.
Or shaking my head is SMH.
Yeah, that's mostly, people will mostly, like, use that when they're texting.
Yeah.
So, like, most people, if you're having a conversation with them, if they just said, like, SMH, that's not super common. But if you're like texting them and somebody's like
Yeah.
responds like BRB, it means they'll be right back. So like that is more common. But so, with baseball,
Amazeball.
I haven't heard that before.
I've never heard that.
Amazeballs?
It's like super gay.
Yeah, that. I don't know. I feel like that was a thing that like elementary school kids said when I was in elementary school. That's not something that I hear many people who are like our age or older use. But yeah, I guess I've probably heard that before. Yeah, so like Amazeballs, it has amaze in it, so it's just like something that's amazing, I guess. But so okay, what I want you guys to do is look over these now and think: are there any of these that have equivalents in Spanish? Specifically with the idioms.
Give the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm. Is there an equivalent to that in Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah, es como darle el beneficio de la duda.
Oh, cool.
Literal.
Perfect. Are there any others that are like that
In the heat of the moment.
in the heat of the moment?
Yeah.
There's that.
Es like en el calor del momento. Sí.
Okay.
Really?
Sí.
I haven't heard that.
Chilando.
I'm just gonna pull the chair, I guess. Okay. Are there any others?
Oh, piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Es como
Fácil.
pan comido.
Okay. But if I was thinking it wouldn't be like pieza del postre. That would be weird.
Yeah, it would be weird.
Okay. See, like you're like I also don't know these in Spanish. So
Kill two birds with one stone.
that's also phrased in Spanish.
Someone's father.
Yes, exactly.
I
Let the
suppose
cat out of the bag.
Oh, that's also in Spanish?
taste
Yeah.
of your own medicine.
Huh.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
correr con el chisme.
Huh.
Taste of your own medicine.
Uh-huh.
It's exactly the same here. What is cucharada de tu propia medicina? Tu propia
Huh. Then somebody last time on Monday said the devil's advocate also has an equivalent in Spanish.
El abogado del diablo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There you go.
That was a hot dog.
So okay.
Oh,
Are there any of these that you guys just don't understand? Or like that you want me to clarify?
Por ejemplo.
Also, feel free, it's double-sided. So look at both sides. So one side is more like slang and the other side is more idioms. Yeah.
I don't understand the word Humblebrag.
A humble brag? Yeah, so that's like let me see how they define it. Yeah, so it's when I'm trying to think of an example. It's when you're talking about like, oh, this bad thing happened, but it's actually like in a way you're kind of like bragging. So if I'm like, oh, my Lamborghini broke down today. You're both trying to make it seem like, oh, my life is so hard, but you're also revealing that like you have a Lamborghini, which is like a really fancy car. Does that make sense? It's like that's an example. I obviously don't have a Lamborghini. Like, does that kind of make sense?
yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? Because if not, I'm going to split you guys into groups.
Nail
Oh,
on the
Gucci?
head.
Hot take.
Hot take? Ooh, I use this a lot. So, like, a hot take is when, like, a take is like an opinion on something. So if I say, oh, well, my take on this is, it's like I'm saying my opinion on this is.
Okay.
And so a hot take is something that in English we'd say is like spicy, meaning like it could be controversial or like it's like it's fun or like you're expecting some pushback from it. So for example, last night, if you follow American politics, and
Oh, yeah.
you guys probably shouldn't right now. It's a mess. But if you do follow it, last night there was a big debate between the candidates who wanted the Democratic nomination. So I was texting all my friends who also like politics and were also watching. And we disagreed on certain things. Like, I'd be like, oh, that was a stupid thing that this guy just said. And others would be like, no, I think they said it well. But so, like, I would say, like, hot take, this person should drop out of the race. And then they'd be like, no, I like them. They should drop out. Like, they still have a chance. So, like, a hot take is, like, kind of like that. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question. I understand the meaning of ghosting, but I don't know how can someone apply this
Of which?
at the real life. Ghost.
Oh, to ghost somebody? Oh, yeah. So if there's a person who's like texting me, but I'm like, I don't want to deal with this person right now, and I just stop responding to them. I'm ghosting them. And so they might even see that like I read their texts, but I'm not responding. So it's like if you say you're ghosting someone, it means, or like they're ghosting me, it means that like they aren't responding to me.
Yeah.
It's like does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very common. I definitely hear ghosting a lot. Yes.
What does it mean, yeet?
Oh wait, where? Yeet? Oh, yeet?
Sound.
Oh, yeah, yeet is just so much fun. Oh wow, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, this is probably something like people around my age say. Like, if one of my parents said this, I would give them a very odd look. Because like, I say that people, this is definitely like a younger thing, but it's kind of just like an enthusiastic like, yes, or like, let's do this. So if somebody's like, if I'm like, hey, wanna go to the party, and the person will be like, eat, meaning like, yes, like, let's go.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's like that.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And some of these, like, if you ask me where yeet came from, like, I have no idea the origins for a lot of these. I can just tell you about like how they're used. But so, okay. What I want you guys to do now is to turn to the person next to you. So get into pairs. Every one of you should have a partner. And I want each of you to choose an idiom. So from the sheet, from the side that says idiom. And I want you guys to try to come up with a sentence that uses that idiom in context. Or it doesn't necessarily need to be just one sentence. It could be like a situation. So you can say like, oh, if this happened, I might say, well, you could kill two birds with one stone and do so and so, for example. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to try to like use these in context, so like get comfortable with them. Does that make sense? So just turn to the person next to you, decide on one that you like, and try to use that. And if you're having trouble, I can come around and help. Just raise your hand. Yeah.
I choose this ghost, an arm, and a leg.
On my
Only
own
one
project
idiom or one
that
for person?
it turned out to be amazing,
It's only one for.
So
in
I think
time there was a person who
all that you wish.
took my project
I choose this.
Sample.
I bought a cell phone that cost me an arm and a leg.
he was a cheater, he was faking, and
I want to choose another. The same. I don't know. Maybe it's another. It's another.
So if there's something that I know will be popular that other people won't like, then go around the order of what to say, right? So I use this as an example. Last night, some of the candidates were asking, okay, if you want free healthcare for all Americans, will this involve raising taxes? And so they didn't want to say that it would, because no one likes raising taxes. So instead of beating around the bush, they're like, well, overall, the net cost of healthcare will go down and society will be healthier. But they just really answered the question. It's like politicians beating around the bush, or like, they don't want to give a straight answer. Does that make sense?
It was a big I didn't
and maybe because I don't have no brother there, so I would say yes, and she starts here.
Ajá.
So turns on and say, "Ah, look at me. Now I'm now I'm
I use, I mean, you know,
right, I'm right, and you're gonna be wet. I just say, that's so funny. So then she just go out with a car, and then the car just look at it and say, yeah, and I say the taste of your own medicine, because that's really funny. You can say,
Yes.
oh, Karma, I love you.
Of course.
That's really funny.
My middle school, I was
how much
working
Alright,
my
cross that bridge when you
classmate in my so
I don't know about maybe this give the benefit of the doubt.
she once told me that she
Do you guys have one?
Just the first mine was it cost me an arm and a leg, and I say this cell phone cost me an arm and a leg.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Basically, this means that you need to like give up the laws for something. Cool. Does that make sense? Then maybe since that's short, do you guys want to come up with a second one that's really short?
meant to
You guys.
or free
Here, so just keep looking at them, and if you can come up with another example sentence using another one, try to.
Okay.
You'll probably have like another minute.
Very well. For instance, did you?
I don't know. Okay,
No.
so we're going to do one with this side next.
You have
So
to
pretend
vote
try to
for Morena. Would you? You can give the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's like a
What is
sassy way of like
both?
so like if so like
What is the past of the? Is what I
yeah, but it's
said to him was
face to face.
I bought
On
cell
social
phone.
media.
You mean that?
And your last sentence?
Like I
You have both for Morena. The,
so like if
And my question is,
if someone on Twitter
it's the recipe voltage.
and maybe has a bit offensive, so people just don't want to respond anyway. Somebody might respond just like my show was like just like turning your head
It's a cognate. It's the same. Yes, it's almost the same, but it's not the same. Both is both, but you is B-O-T-E.
a form of social media will post short 6-second long videos. Have you guys ever heard of Vine? No. Okay, do you have a sentence that uses an idiom? Great, perfect. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay. Alright, okay, wait, everybody. So we're now all going to gather up and you guys are going to share the sentences that you came up with. And don't worry, so I'm not expecting all of them to be like perfect or even for them to be good. So don't worry. Like if you say something and it doesn't make sense, I'll let you know, but it sounds like all of you guys have a pretty good grasp on this. So alright, who wants to go first? And if you can come up with multiple sentences, even better. You can share this. So okay, who wants to go first?
You have to vote for Morena. You have to give the benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt. Yeah. It's like, yeah, there you go. That works. It's usually like, oh, I don't know about that, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm friends with you or I trust you usually. So yes, there you go. Yeah.
Well,
That's pretty good. Yeah. There you go. Anybody else?
Who wants to share?
No, you
Sorry. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Go ahead. Please.
No, I said who wants to share?
Oh, yeah.
Who wants? Oh, who wants to share?
Well, when I had a lot of issues, cross that bridge when I get to it.
Oh,
It's correct.
yeah, yeah. So that's usually like,
No problem.
yeah. So like, if you're making a list of the things that you need to do, and the person that you're making the list with is like, oh, and don't forget about that. I might say, well, I don't. That doesn't need to get done for months, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So it's, but yes, basically there you go. Yep. So it's basically just saying like, I'll worry about that when I need to worry about that, but until then, I won't. So there you go. Good job. Anybody else? That's a trick. You won't need to go.
She wants.
So the project was rejected by the client, so we have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Totally perfect. Good job. Anybody else?
This cell phone cost me an arm and a leg.
Yeah. There you go. It's like you cost an arm and a leg means you need to like give up a lot for it. Like literally at once. Not literally. Great. Good job. So far everybody's been really good. Who wants to go next?
I just said to Melissa, I just said to Melissa that in my opinion, it doesn't matter if we're from the north or the south, we are people who are always beating around the bush.
So does beating around the bush like it might be similar to, do you know what it means to sugarcoat something? To sugarcoat. So like to sugarcoat means like if I need to say something that like people won't like and I know that like it'll be bad or unpopular or sad or it's bad news. Sugarcoating it is like to coat means like to cover and sugar is sweet. So it's like you cover the bad thing with something that's like sweet and like good, and so you're like, well, yes, a million people will lose their jobs, but at least the new airport will be cool and have a lot of glass.
Oh, it's like you're trying to look for the bright side.
Yes, exactly. Or like I'm going to avoid talking about like the bad stuff, or like I might not even acknowledge that a bunch of people are gonna like lose their jobs. I'll be like, well, but like, you know, like there is this good thing that'll come about through it. It's kind of like, that makes sense. So beating around the bush is also when you want to avoid saying something unpopular. So in last night's, I use this example with you guys. In last night's debate, a lot of the candidates, a lot of the Democrats want there to be free universal health care. So they want to set up a system of healthcare where the government gives everybody healthcare, because right now people need to buy healthcare from companies and it can be really expensive. And so the moderator at the debate asked the candidates, well, you need to raise taxes on people. And Americans don't like paying high taxes. And so none of the candidates wanted to say that they would actually need to raise taxes. And so they started saying, well, but it'll, you know, the cost of medicine will be a lot more affordable, and overall it'll be a lower net cost, and we'll be expanding coverage. And so they were beating around the bush, and they never actually answered the question and said, yes, we will need to raise taxes, but instead they were talking about like all these other good things, and were avoiding actually answering the question. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so does anybody else want to go? So far, everybody's have been great. Yep.
But the first half of the year I got a lot of trouble. Inside my family, inside my school, and my and I don't know which thing it could be the last straw. And at the moment, I don't know how to feel myself as well.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So you used the last straw very well. So usually, like the last straw, that's very good. I'm just gonna give like another example when it's often used, but that was perfect. So very good job. So like the last straw means like I was having a bad day, but when that guy cut in front of me, that was the last straw, and I lost it. Right? It's like the final thing that like puts you over the edge. that like,
Luego te quedas remuelvo. We had a similar one.
oh, you have a similar one?
Yes, it's like the drop that spilled over the slab.
Yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect.
Like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means usually. But so there you go. So like when just like a lot of bad things are happening, you're like, I don't know what the last straw will be. So there you go. Perfect.
Es como ya me llevó el gato.
Very good. All right. Does anybody else want to go?
Me. Well, that's an experience in true life. I was at the middle school when I was a teenager boy. So I was talking to my friend, and in that moment she once told me about another guy that I met on that school. So she told me that she heard something about him, like he was a cheater and a womanizer, but I didn't understand why the reason, but I just said I just remembered. Don't take things too seriously. So I would say that's my friend. She used to hear something on through the grapevine. In that case.
Perfect. There you go. So does that make sense, you guys? To hear on the grapevine? It means like I don't know where. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, basically like if you hear something on the grapevine, if I'm like, if you don't want to say like where you heard a rumor or something, or you just heard like collective like whisperings about a person that like you didn't hear it from the source, you didn't hear it from any one person, but it's just like collective like sentiment or murmurings or rumors about something. It's like hearing it on the grapevine. Does that make sense? So perfect. Wow. So far all of yours have been spot on. Good job, everybody.
Spot on is slang, right?
Yep. Oh, there you go. Yeah, spot on. Do you guys know what spot on means?
No.
Yep, it means like exactly, like to use one here, you hit the nail on the head.
Oh.
Do you understand what like to hit the nail on the head means? Yeah, so like nails, they're shaped like this, but then at the top it's like wider and kind of circular. And in English, that like wider circular part that you hit with a hammer is called the head. So if you hit the nail on the head, it means like you got it. You hit it exactly right. So like perfect.
Sort of nail it.
Yes. Exactly, same exact thing. Yeah, to nail it means like to do it perfectly.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, who else wants to share?
Okay. Just on me. I am the pressure. Well, almost 1 week ago, I was with a friend, and then suddenly start to rain, so she just opened her umbrella and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be dry," and you, sorry, and then just go outside, and then suddenly a car passed, and it was a lot of water. So yeah, it's so much a splasher, and I say, "Oh, that's girl, that takes your own medicine." Open on me, and now you are so
Perfect. That's exactly right. Great. There you go. Wow, all of you guys are doing really, really, really well with this. I'm really happy. Anybody else who hasn't gone yet? Wants to or came up with one of their own in the meantime?
For example, when you get advantage with two activities, it's possible to say kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, perfect. So I might say, like, let's say my parents say, Devin, can you go run some errands? Oh wait, do you guys know what it means to run errands?
no.
Running errands are like going out to do like quick. So like if we run out of eggs at my house and I just need to go to the store to get some eggs, that's like running an errand. It's like a quick thing, or if I need to like go drop off like a letter at the post office so it can be mailed. It's just like a quick like thing that you like go out to do, something that needs to be done. Like not really like a chore, but something that
How do you spell it?
errand. It's so E, but when I say E, I don't mean I. Like here, so it's like E,
Yeah, like
R,
I don't.
So my parents told me to go run a few errands. Yeah. So if I need to go run a few errands, and my parents asked me to get both eggs and printer paper, like paper for the printer, but I went to a store that allowed me to get both, I'd be killing two birds with one stone. So instead of needing to go to like a grocery store, which would be like a Sumesa, and needing to go to like an Office Max or some store like that, if I can find a place that has both of them, I'd be killing two birds with one stone. Like getting two things done at once. Does that make sense? Yeah. Exactly. So you used it exactly correct. Good job. Okay. Is there anything else before we move on?
My boyfriend is studying university at the Utah, but I don't put all my eggs in the basket, and I'm going to try to apply to other universities like Canada, USA.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, so putting all of your eggs in one basket would mean like putting all of your resources into like hoping that one thing happens, right? And so here she's saying like when applying to colleges, it makes sense that you like share your efforts, and instead of just writing really good essays for one school and not caring about the rest, that would be putting all of your eggs in one basket. So instead you want to like spread out the resources so that way even if one thing doesn't work out, you still have other options.
Yeah.
And does that like make sense? Because like if you put all of your eggs are something that's easy to break, right? And so if you put all of your eggs in the same basket, you drop the basket, all of your eggs are gone because they all broke when it fell or something happened, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, only if they're cooked. Okay, so perfect. So now we're gonna do the same thing, but with the slang on the other side. And so this slang, some of it is used, but like if it's in all caps, like FOMO or GOAT, most people would like text that or like use it on like social media or when they're texting a friend. Yeah, rather than in person. Although I don't know. I guess I've heard people say GOAT and FOMO. But like I would just say, to be honest, I wouldn't say TBH when I'm talking to people. So I want you guys first. Does anybody have any questions about these? Does it don't make sense? What? Lots? So just like what are some? I think somebody said something about not understanding mom. Do you guys understand what like mom means in the setting? It's on the top of the second column, right?
Yeah.
Mom, like, does that make sense? So like, I'm in college, and so I don't. A lot of my friends go to lots of parties and drink a lot, but I don't drink very much. And so I'm the one at parties who's like, guys, you need to drink more water so you stay hydrated, right? And so they'll be like, yeah, thanks, mom. It's kind of like the friend in the group who's always like caring or like looking out for the other ones or isn't quite as wild and wants to make sure that everybody stays safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for example, V, you say V, just like that.
Oh yeah, so V is just, that's usually when you're texting, if you don't want to text out all of very, so if I'm like, I'm very sad, I would just text out like, I'm V sad. Or like, I'm V sad. Right. Yeah, but that's not something like people just say very when they're talking.
Where?
Very, V, it's like, it's here. Yeah. Are there any others? Or do you feel confident enough to start to try to use them in a sentence? Yes.
Clap back.
Oh, a clap back? Oh yeah. That's like, that's not really something that people like say. It's more just like a thing that people do. So like, if you said something to me and I responded and I was really happy, or like, it was like really witty and I just like flamed you, you know what that means? Like to roast somebody or to flame somebody. It means like a really like fiery situation. And the person's like, whoa, like I can't even recover from that. Like, that was a burn. Does that make sense? Like, to burn somebody, to flame them, to roast them, they all basically I might come back with a clap back, but like I'm not going to say, let me clap back at that. Like people don't really say it. It's more just a thing that people do, if that makes sense. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like after Susan roasted Freddie, Freddie had a great clap back. Meaning like he had a great response. Does that make sense? But that's not one that I hear. I honestly hear like come back used more often. Or like a flame or a roast. Like I hear all of those used more frequently than clap back. Clap back. I don't know. Another thing with these is like some of these are used more frequently by people in different parts of the US. So like most people in the US, if you use one of these, they'll understand what you mean. But there are some of these that like I know what they mean, but I myself don't use them very much because it's like mostly people in like Southern California that use it. Or people in like New York that use it. If that makes sense. But I've still heard all of